So, Brett, let's just jump right into the NHL. And like I hinted at, Oregon gives multi-day outlooks for me over here on the West Coast in terms of NHL games. That means as we're recording this on Wednesday, I still have a pick from last episode that's going right now. 1-0 Arizona Coyotes are leading the Minnesota Wild at the end of the first period. But as we look into Thursday and Friday, Brett, we have some interesting themes, some back-to-back games for a few different matchups.
Yeah, definitely a few back to backs. I was able to find a few Thursday night games that, drew my interest, Higgins, with the no NBA out currently. But I'm going to find myself on this Lightning Blue Jackets game. Tampa Bay minus a goal and a half on the puck line, plus 100, so no juice. It's even odds. Higgins 10 to win 10, 100 to win 100. So I'm going to take Tampa Bay here just because I like the number. Columbus has been not the worst team in the East this year. There's two worse than them, but that's it. The only two worse than them. So I'm taking a top East team versus a bottom East team, a team that struggled mightily this season. And Tampa Bay is looking to gear it up for the postseason right now.
Tampa Bay, a strong team, maybe a good parlay base right there. I'm going to be going back to the well here, Brett, to a pick that I had in episode 133 that cashed out for me. The Devils were playing against the Penguins on Tuesday night, and the Devils came way back to lose the game 6-7 and cover the 1.5 goal puck line. Somehow Pittsburgh gave it up, and you know what? Maybe that's because when New Jersey's on the road, they don't give up. They are 15-6 when covering the puck line on the road. So I'm going to go back to the well with that again. I'm going Devils plus 1.5 at plus 100 odds. I like that the value is at plus 100 when I'm being given a goal and a half. And we just saw that the Devils, even though they are eliminated from playoff contention, they like to play spoiler, and they're not going to give up these easy games to Pittsburgh. They're going to make them earn those 2 points. So I like this, especially with these odds at plus 100 at plus 1.5.
Fair enough, Higgins. Well, you and I are going to be on opposite sides of each other on this next game. It's actually part of a parlay for me. I'll start off with the game you're not on, Higgins.
Okay.
Boston takes on the Sabres. The Bruins minus 300 in this one. I think that is should probably be up all the way up to minus 500, to be honest, if you want to go there. The Buffalo Sabres are the worst team in the East, Higgins. They traded their former MVP. I mean, he wasn't an MVP there, but the former MVP, Taylor Hall, at the deadline. They were sellers. They are all in for this number one pick. Boston's competing for a top spot in the East, so every game matters for them. I like the Bruins in this one, but now the game that really makes the parlay for me, Higgins, Capitals Islanders. These are two great teams. This game is going to be the most fun game of the night to watch between competitiveness, ability to score, goaltenders, all of it, Higgins. I'm just taking the Islanders. They're slight favorites. I do think they're slightly better than the Capitals. Capitals were aggressive at the deadline, adding a great scorer, Martha from Detroit. But give me the Islanders. I just think they're too good. I don't even like the Islanders, but they're my pick to come out of the East this year, Higgins. And heading into the playoffs, you want to be firing on all cylinders. The Islanders look really strong of late, so I'm parlaying those two. Obviously, I recognize that the Islanders-Washington game is much more 50-50. The odds reflect that. But in my parlay, Higgins, I get plus 139 on a team that's minus 300 and a team that's minus 125. So I'm just doing it because the odds reflect good value, in my opinion.
Okay, yeah, I had looked at that Bruins minus 300 and had considered using that in a parlay as well. I'm not going to, because you're right. We are differing in this Capitals Islanders game here. I like the Capitals money line just based off how these two teams have played each other so far this season. You look at it, they've played 4 times. The Capitals have won 3 of those games. The most recent one, the Islanders did win, but it was a 1-0 game, Brett, and that's just not going to happen in this matchup very often. I mean, we're not going to shut out either side very often. So I think Washington's going to come back. You mentioned how they gained firepower at the trade deadline. I think that's going to help them get some pucks in the net this time around. And if we look at some earlier potential from this season, the Islanders did beat Sorry, this is a 3-2 matchup. I was overlooking one of the games. The game I'm about to cite right here, though, the Islanders won 8-4. It's way over the 5.5 that this over/under set out at, Brett. And another game was a 6-3 ending. So you know what? I'm not just going to be on the Capitals money line here. I'm also going to take over 5.5 at -110. We've talked about time and again on this podcast how over 5.5 is going to be the lowest. You often find it for the NHL, and it's typically with some pretty good odds. Now, we're not going to get plus value for this over/under at 5.5, but we are going to get the normal -110 VIG. So I'm going to take that 5.5 because I really do see this being a much more fast-paced, high goal-scoring game like we've seen in the other matchups of this series so far.
Fair enough, Higgins, but we know what your real value to the podcast is, and that is seeing into the future. So I need your Friday picks, and I need them now, Higgins, because I need to beat the books.
Yes, I have one Friday pick, but before I get to that one, Brett, I do want to mention a back-to-back game that we have on these Thursday-Friday slates, which is the Flyers-Rangers game, which there's a Rangers fan on this podcast and a Flyers fan on this podcast, and neither of us found ourselves on these games because both teams are in an interesting predicament right now. Their backs are kind of up against the wall in terms of potential playoff implications. The Flyers, they're on the verge of getting eliminated, and they're very close. I don't think they'd have a chance of winning both of these games. I'm leaning towards the Rangers winning both these games. Honestly, I just didn't have the heart to pull it. But it's interesting at -155 value for the Rangers money line on both days with them being at home.
Yeah, I'm good. I have no interest. Yeah, I mean, I'm just low on the Rangers, Higgins. People seem to think that their schedule is going to somehow allow them the opportunity to get in. I think you're crazy if you've watched the Rangers play hockey this year. The wins are just you sweat them out. I mean, we've had a few crazy ones. We beat like the Penguins like 18-0. Like I know it wasn't actually that, but it felt like that. We scored right at the start of the game and just blew them out. But outside of that one game, it's been really nerve-wracking, all these wins, and our losses have been not very close. So I just have no faith in my team, Higgins, and I'd love for them to prove me wrong. But I'm a very cynical fan. I'm just down on the Rangers, down on the Mets, down on the Jets. I'm just a very cynical fan.
Both of those teams essentially need both of those games for their playoff hopes. So when you have two teams with their backs pressed up against the wall like that, I don't like betting on those games because it just anything can really happen. So I'm going to go with a different route on Friday. Nashville Predators versus the Blackhawks. Now, this is a game that happened on Wednesday as well as we were recording this, Brett, and the Blackhawks won 5-4 in overtime. Before that happened, though, Brett, the Predators had won all 5 matchups against the Chicago Blackhawks this year. Sorry, all 6 of the matchups against the Blackhawks this year. Don't want to cheat them out of a win. All 6. So they're 6-1 against Chicago. The loss to Chicago's fresh in their mind just 2 days later. Give me the Predators -1.5 at +215. Are you kidding me? They're going to come out with some anger. They're going to come out with a chip on their shoulder because they wanted the season sweep, I'm sure, against their division rival in a sense. So I'm going to take the Predators at some fantastic +1.5, 215 value. And you look at it, the Predators, 1 game, 2 games, 2 of their 6 games, they won by multiple games. I think they're about to get a third right here.
Multiple goals. I got you, Higgins. Yeah, I honestly have no idea what Friday hockey looks like on when we're recording this, but I'm hopeful, and I think your logic adds up, Higgins. They're gonna come out fired up. They were clearly the dominant team in this series all season long. So sure, they could absolutely come out a little juiced up, coming off a loss to a team they've dominated all season.